Really, water is our #1 concern. Timing, of course, with water is the biggest thing. We can raise an entire tobacco crop on 10 inches of water from the time it's transplanted into a harvest, if that 10 inches comes at the right time, or if it's the right placement throughout the season. So I would say water is normally our most critical factor. With our heavy clay soils, we have low organic matter in some of the ground, so our water holding capacity is relatively low. And at any given time, we're 6 to 7 days from being in a drought. Yes, absolutely. Would recommend Genesis products 100%. It's one of those things where it's not a one-size-fits-all product, but Genesis offers so many different products that will pinpoint and target specific issues that you may be experiencing. And it may take some time, and you have to do sometimes your own farm research yourself to see how it works for you. It may work different for you than it does another farm, just from the different climate and land standpoint. But absolutely, Genesis products, they work, and we've been very pleased with them, and we'll continue to use them in the years forward. The Genesis products, you have to figure out how it fits your farm. It's not going to be somebody in the Midwest may say that you use the product for this specific thing and it's going to work like this. You may have to play around with it and do some of your own research to figure out how that product is going to be most effective for you on your farm. I would say that a lot of the products that do try to be a one-size-fits-all product, if you're gaining in one area, you're typically losing in another. So when you have multiple products that you can combine together and each have a specific target, you get a more effective application. So Century would definitely be our #1 go-to on the farm. We use it in the tobacco from day one. We keep the Century in our transplant water in the greenhouses, and that is the one product that we can see tremendous root growth and plant health out of in the greenhouse. It really pushes that plant. And then we continue to use it throughout the season, all the way up through topping. We're primarily using the Century in the tobacco to control our black shank, which is driven by VitaNterra. The Century, one thing that we think that the Century is doing is, as it does for us in the greenhouse, is promoting that root growth. So we found that after an application of Century, that's even with a plant that is near death with the VitaNterra, it's pushing those roots and growing new roots. And we have actually seen plants that have rooted at the ground, at the ground and the stalk meet. We've seen plants that have shot roots out there and have been able to get itself back to a place where it's livable. Yes, we found that a combination of silicate and Carbose late season will help to mature our tobacco faster than it would be just naturally letting into the field. And it puts some properties in that leaf that help it to cure, like what we're shooting for, and to give us that color that our buyers are wanting. Unfortunately, we've applied our silicate Carbose frost cocktail the past 2 years. In 2020, we had a lot of tobacco in the ground, and we had a heavy frost on May the 10th, and we feel like that the frost protection cocktail definitely saved us from a disaster. If frost had got those transplants that were already set, we would have definitely had to rebedded and started over from scratch. And corn or soybeans, it's not that big a deal, but with tobacco, those plants were started mid-February, so plant availability is what you run into with a tobacco crop or any transplanted crop. So it would have been tough trying to find transplants to replace those with if we had lost them. So we found that the Century and Carbose together applied on the tobacco can help to mitigate black shank. It's definitely not a cure-all, but we found that it helps tremendously, and we're able to use that product when we don't have rain in the forecast or we're not able to get to it to irrigate. Where other products on the market, you definitely got to have water to help move it in that plant, but the Century and Carbose applied in the right manner will go into the plant and help to slow that black shank. So we have used Immerse for several different application targets in our tobacco. One being just a vitamin to help keep the plant healthy during times of stress, whether that be stress from disease or stress from lack of water. But we have seen that the Immerse does do a great job at keeping that plant healthy and keeping it pushing forward.